live. Well, as live as we can be. I don't know if you can see the sky behind me. I don't know how well it comes across on the camera, but there's a lot of rain possibly heading this way, so we'll see how far we get. But it might be a morning walk, maybe with a stop under a tree, maybe with a visit under the bridge, just to see. And of course, lots and lots and lots, as always, ponies. Craig, good morning to you. Like I say, please hit the like and share button, let people know we are live. But good morning, good morning, good morning. You join me on what is somewhat of a cold, definitely a bit of a rainy bank holiday Monday. That's for sure. Oh, but honestly, quite needed at the moment, because we are actually going through a bit of a drought here at the moment. So even though it is rain, the rain will be very, very much welcomed. Certainly, of course, by the farmers. Oh, Mike, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I can feel it starting to rain already. So we might not actually get too far on this morning walk, because it does feel like it absolutely... Oh, and I wish I'd got a jacket on now, because it's a bit cold. Yep. We might just go under the bridge for a bit, just to try and wait this out. Hopefully, he says, fingers crossed, it'll pass. But I don't think very soon. Anyway, under we go. Anyway, good morning, good morning, good morning. Absolutely wet. Anyway, so good morning everyone joining us. Like I say, I will say good morning Craig, good morning Richard, Alexander, One Angry Pagan, good morning, good morning, good morning. Craig, so what do you think the benefit cap stuff would have happened earlier without John McDonnell and his band of idiots? Again, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think we knew, probably going into this election, that there was not going to be a lot of headroom. And I think everyone admits that after the last administration, there was not going to be a lot of headroom. And I think everyone saw, especially the disaster of like Liz Truss. David Falconer, good morning. Billy Kershaw, good morning as well. Everyone saw the disaster of Liz Truss. Hang on, I'm going to have to head back under the bridge because it's still raining. But I'll leave you with some cows in the background. So everyone really saw the disaster of Liz Truss, and I think it really sent a message to a lot of people that you can't do everything you want to do. I think that was one of the big things that the sort of previous administration really sort of took under their wing, shall we say. So it was very, very much a reaction, I think, to a lot of the stuff that Liz Truss did, knowing that they couldn't be as free, knowing that when they came in, they wouldn't have a lot of space to move. Were they right in doing this? I think it will be the great debate for the ages. Was it right to do this? Was it right to do all this stuff? I don't know. But one of the things I really want to highlight again is the amount of pressure that has been put on Starmer by backbenchers for that stuff. So, as I've always advocated for, writing to your MP, going to see them, has effects, it has consequences than a lot more people really realise. So it is good. We can apply pressure and it does work. So don't give up, don't give up. And we have heard that, Starmer does want to undo the benefit cap, but it's just, he's said it before, and the rumour is he wants to do it, he's just waiting for the space to do it. So, yeah, it is one of those things. Anyway, thank you very much, One Angry Pagan. Even so, the social con policy are still bad. Yeah, they are. I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm not saying that they're not bad. I agree. But sometimes, as anyone in business will understand, back under the bridge. Everyone I think will agree. Some of these policies are bad. They do have, bad policy outcomes. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. But when you go into politics, sometimes you can't do everything you want to do. Craig, the pressure's been there for a while. It's more than that. It's being a focus now of the first rebellion caused issues. Yeah, the pressure has been there, and it does have an effect, does have a cause and effect. We've seen that. So it does work. If you put pressure on on the parliament, on the government, it does work. Despite other people telling me prior to this, before the election, that it wouldn't work. But there you go. Evon, good morning to you. Ali, good morning to you. Sarah Davis, good morning to you as well. Yeah, you can fight the system like Trump is doing here. You can. There are various ways. Like we're seeing the Good Law Project at the moment. They're doing a lot of good stuff, taking the government to court on this. Something I've got to look more into, and I want to do a video on about maybe later. This is a point where I've probably got to get Rachel on, I think, at some point. Because I think she will have a really good understanding of this. I think it'll be a really good conversation to have at some point. But yeah, I've got to get her on the channel at some point. I thought that was the wind then. No, it was just a train passing overhead. Oh, right. How's the rain now? Is it gone? Or is this going to be... or is this going to be... Still a bit... We'll wait under here for a bit. Oh. One Argy Pagan, thank you very much. Yeah, I do agree, but it's one of those topics that I think was always going to be discussed. The whole trans stuff, as I said before, it is completely one of those points where you are like, there's a lot of very loud people in a minority. Unfortunately, they've got a lot of money. It was inevitable that they would use that power and that voice and that money and that influence to push something. But it was just, what was it going to be? And I think they've gone too far. I think they've gone way too far on this. I think them doing this and they're sort of undoing that law was probably their worst mistake they have ever done. Like, I think it's their worst mistake they have ever done, because now a lot of people, a lot of quote normies, as we would call them, saw all those interviews that were in the wake of that, and they couldn't understand why these turfy idiots or morons, you know, whatever, but why they were being so mean to these people. Like, if you have a look about that, you can really see, like, the average, you know, person's reaction to that is, why are these people being so angry to these people? There was a hate on those conversations. There really was a hate in those conversations of those people that a lot of people looked at them and went, what? Why are they so angry? And I think it has pushed them just a bit too far in that way. And I do think we're at that point where I think we are going to see a turning point on this stuff. So, David Falconer, thank you very much. Do you think the government will work towards PR anytime soon? Not anytime soon. Nope. Not anytime soon, unfortunately, but I think it is a conversation I've always said that time has now come. Its time has now come on this. It's just really getting enough MPs on board to do it. And will it happen? I think so. I think, you know, PR's time has come. But it is having that conversation, it is forcing that conversation to sort of happen. So, tell you what, we'll risk it. We'll go. We'll go this way. So, oop. So, good morning, Stephen. Good morning. Good morning to everyone else joining us on the Good Morning Walk. Craig Rep, reform success may up the schedule. It may get the Tories to support it. Again, will it or will it not? Time will tell, Craig. I think you're right. Time will tell. But there are Tories that do support PR, and when you want to change something like this, you know, especially something like changing the voting system, you really need cross-party support. You really need to get everyone on board, and I think the last bastion in that regard, you know, the last bastion in that regard, I think you are right, is the Tories. So will they do it? You're right. I don't know. I generally don't know. But they've got a lot of other things to sort out between now and then. Namely, of course, they're probably going to have another civil war coming soon. And I can tell you now, there will be no peace accord that will stop them fighting this time. I hope the next Tory civil war is an absolute bruiser. Is an absolute bruiser. One Angry Pagan. Environment policy, I can't really complain with at the moment. Though they need a kick up the arse on mercy for badgers and environment restoration and species reduction being done. Again, I don't know too much about environmental policy, I'll say that, but it is good because I know you've said in the past, I think that's your your bat and ball game, as they say. I don't even know, is that a saying, bat and ball game? So you probably certainly know more about that area more than me. But, you know, as I've always said, this government was never going to be perfect. Never going to be perfect. And, you know, they were bound to get things wrong. Bound to do stuff that people don't like. But there's never ever been a perfect government. And, you know, they're going to take mistakes, they're going to do bad stuff. And I'm glad that they are. When they do bad stuff, because that means they get a kicking. I think it's always a test of a government how they respond to that kicking, like we've seen with local elections. And I think you're going to see, probably over a summer, I think especially when we have the recess, probably a lot of conversations by backbenchers in Labour. And it wouldn't be too surprising after the summer recess. Maybe this is when we maybe start to see more blocks form. Maybe we start to see more, you know, when we start to see those groups form. And then that's when we might see a more pushback in that. So it is all just waiting to see what happens at that point. But politics is slow. And I know a lot of people really want change fast. But unfortunately, politics in Westminster doesn't come fast. It is very, very slow. You know, politics in Westminster, very, very slow. But local council, that's a different story. And oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'll tell you what, they haven't disappointed yet at Reform UK. They've been just causing absolute chaos in their first week. And I'll tell you now, there's a couple of councils getting rid of their flood defence committees. Gee, how well do you think that's going to go? How well do you think that's going to go when they get rid of their flood defence committee? Because I know Derbyshire's got rid of theirs. Leicestershire's got rid of theirs. You know, and bear in mind, Leicestershire was only flooded back in January. Right, that's their most recent flooding. Had some of the highest levels of flooding in like recent memory. Oh yeah, luckily my council is Lib Dem. Well, I think Cornwall was funny as well. So for those of you who don't know, Reform did take some seats down in Cornwall, but they didn't get enough to have a majority. And because of that, the Lib Dems have now formed into a coalition with the Independents, and basically they've kept Reform out of power. They've kept Reform well out of power down in Cornwall. And oh boy, they were not happy. They were not happy about that, that's for sure. Like I say, I'm probably going to do a video about their response on that. Oh. Joe, good morning to you, and good morning to everyone else joining us as well. Like I say, welcome to the Good Morning Walk. Indeed, Slava Ukraine. We are massive supporters of Ukraine on this channel. I say, Trump finally, you know, about time, making some actual sense when finally talking about the whole Ukraine issue, finally putting the blame on Vladimir Putin. Hopefully he puts a bit more on him. Because I think when that starts to happen properly, I think that's when Putin's really going to start to feel the burn. When are you pagan? In South Devon, not Cornwall. But you're about half and half. Yeah, I'm very worried. Oh, train just going past there. I myself am very, very worried next year about what could happen in my own hometown, because I think it's going to end up going reform, because we've got 62 seats in our council. Now, we used to do it in two sort of spaces. So you used to have like 32, 33, like every 2 years. So you used to roll like that. But we've just had a big conversation in Barnsley about what people want to do. So now we're just going to do it all in one. So next year, we're going to have a big local election. And I, to be honest, am very worried we're going to end up with a reform council next year. So next year, you're probably going to see me doing a bit of door knocking next year and really getting involved, because I'll tell you now, I hopefully want to put as many people off voting reform around here as we possibly can, because Barnsley is going through a fantastic transformation at the moment, and if these reform idiots get in, they're going to stop it dead. They're going to absolutely stop it dead, stone cold. It'll be an absolute shame. It'll be an absolute shame if they do that. But no, I thought someone asked, where are we? We are in the heart of Yorkshire. On this wonderful bank holiday Monday. Unfortunately, as you can see over there looks like it might rain. We've already dodged a bit of the rain at the moment on this, but we'll see. And also, the other fact we're going to have is, on this, just like all the other reform councils, they've taken down the Ukrainian flag. I'm really happy that our council has constantly flown the Ukrainian flag since the beginning of this war. And I'll tell you now, I'm going to be ticking the reform council's ear if they take that flag down. They're not going to like me. That's for sure. We are in the riding of South Yorkshire, the best part of Yorkshire. Other people will probably fight me on that, but that's fine. Oh. But Patrick H, good morning to you, and good morning to everyone else joining us as well. But the other thing I want to talk about is, I did talk about this on a video recently as well, Doncaster. You know, it doesn't get enough, I think, airtime that the people of Doncaster, well, they voted in reform for the council, but the Labour mayor won. And the Labour mayor ran on a platform of reopening Doncaster City Airport. or Doncaster Sheffield Airport, as it's called, DSA. And I've said before, reopening DSA would be fantastic for the region. Not only just in terms of having an option, so we all don't have to, dash across the can't say it now. Dash across the Pennines to Manchester. At least we've got an option that also isn't Leeds Bradford, because Leeds Bradford is a terrible airport. I'll tell you that now. If you've ever flown from it, you know how bad it is. But it was a great airport when it was open. Peel Group closed it because they wanted to close it down and basically build houses on it. I think it was a shame that they were allowed to do so. But progress has been made. Unfortunately, Coppard, our Sheffield City Regional Mayor, is being slow about reopening or giving the funding across to DSA. So he needs to get a shufty on and get signing, because my big worry now is that all those reform guys on Doncaster Council are going to do their very, very best to absolutely stop and delay any of the reopening of Doncaster Airport. And I think that'll be bad. That'll be very, very bad if that happens, because it is a wonderful job creator for the airport, for the region. It's got a big piece of infrastructure as well, with it being a cargo airport as well, because of the size of the runway. It used to be the RAF Finningley, so it was the Vulcan bombers that used to fly from there a lot. So nice big runway, really good for cargo ports. When its big selling points was, it's the sky port. A really good bit of infrastructure for the region. Not too many other sky ports like that. Again, the closest one would be Manchester, so good option, to have options on that. So it is all about, hopefully, that gets through, but I am very worried. But I will be keeping you regularly updated, shall we say, about that. Tilly the Coder, good morning to you. What are you thinking about Labour's bad stance on trans rights? Well, yeah, it's bad. It's very bad, unfortunately. I'm with you on that. Ooh. What is that? Ooh. Appear to have put my hand in something right there. Ooh. Very, very bad. I'm very disappointed in that. I think this stance maybe comes from a lot from West Streeting. At least that's what we're hearing. I think it's a really bad reaction to a lot of this stuff, but I hope they change their minds on it. I really hope they do. There's bigger fish to fry than, which toilets people use, quite honestly. And I've said this before. I don't get a lot of these culture war arguments. They're so ridiculous. Like, why engage with them when there's so much better stuff they could be fighting about, they could be arguing about, advocating for, And don't get me wrong, I understand why it's important to a lot of people. I really do. I understand, why it is so important to people. But there's bigger fish to fry at the moment than, than that. Artemis, it's the weird American culture. I, again, couldn't agree with you more. Couldn't agree with you more on that. Couldn't agree with you more on that. Patrick H, why is Reform UK so so flag obsessed? Again, they're doing the whole culture war nonsense. They're doing the whole culture war nonsense that they tried, of course, in America because, well, they get a lot of money from, you know, those very similar American people. You know, very similar American people on that one. Is it? Oh, so unfortunately, Tilly's telling us it's our culture that's the problem. Of course, started in 2016. I wonder what could have triggered that in 2016. But yeah, I just don't understand these culture war arguments. It's just like, it honestly just rots people's brains when there's many other better like things we could be talking about. It's an absolute distraction, you know. Why are these people so obsessed with someone's use of the toilet? I just don't understand. But I understand perfectly why, you know, other people, especially on the trans side, care about it so much. You know, I do get it. I do see the fact that, you know, they are being sort of, you know, erased in many cases on that. And I wish there would be more sort of people speak up about it, being, you know, willing to sort of really drive their voices forward on this. Because if I'm honest, I don't really understand all of the arguments around it. If I'm perfectly honest, it's why, even though I will always say, you know, trans people deserve all the rights, the love, and the support they, you know, deserve. Me myself, I don't understand all the arguments around it. You know, I'm not up on it, and I think I really should be a lot more. Honestly, I really should be. I know it's a failing of mine, but when I sort of, you know, start to look at these other arguments, I stand and go, well, why are these people so, you know, obsessed with, you know, toilet use? And I'm just like, you could be arguing, for example, about, you know, the economy. You could be putting that more effort into looking at how we can improve the economy. Maybe, you know, taxing the wealthy a bit more, you know. Yeah, we've seen what Keir Starmer's done with the, you know, the EU agreement recently. Big win for that on me. And guess what? Called it. Now, is it perfect? No. But it will go a long way to improving at least some of the problems caused by Brexit. But yeah, it's frustrating that unfortunately they're going in this way sometimes, and especially going after, you know, a group of people who are just like, just let them live, get on with their lives. You know, why go after them? Doesn't make any sense to me. But I understand, you know, why, you know, people do care on that side. And like I say, I do want to have, I think, Rachel on soon, because I think she will be very good sort of doing that sort of stuff. Yeah. Separating trans people, exactly. Can't say it. Exclusionary language. Very, very much right on that one, Tilly. You know, why are we trying to do this? But it's the exact same language you can see sometimes deployed against immigrants. You know, blame the asylum seekers, blame the immigrants. Wait, but they're not responsible for that problem. You know, I had an argument recently with a reform guy in a local pub. And, you know, and I was like to him, oh, well, you know, if all these immigrants weren't here, we'd have solved the housing crisis. We'd have all these houses. And I'm like, my friends, if I were to wave a magic wand and get rid of every single immigrant in the country, we would still be suffering from one of the most acute housing problems and shortages in Europe. Immigrants are not the problem when it comes to housing. Oh. But yeah, I think it's the right wing, shall we say, really something that's been building, really something that they've been building where they have to have some sort of distraction. They have to have some sort of, you know, external threat against them. Then at least they don't have to talk about, you know, the real issues. You know, you've just seen, what is it, the beautiful big bill being passed by Trump in America. Oh, got a super chat. Thank you very much again, Angry Pagan. The right wishes to bicker while the world burns. Again, very true. Very true on that one. You know, that bill that they've just passed in America, that's going to cause so many problems for America, like later down the line. And the Republicans aren't going to take any responsibility for it. Oh, they'll do everything they can to abdicate responsibility for that. And yeah, it's very true, Yvonne. It's costing Labour votes. Very, very true. You know, if I were a politician and I was an MP, I would be saying to Starmer, do not get involved in culture war, spats, or disputes. It doesn't solve any of these countries' problems. It is just a distraction, and you should be focusing on the real issues. Yeah, funding is the bane of US politics. Very, very true. Very, very true indeed. Because I don't use this path very often. Now it's summer, we can go back along this path. Because during the winter, this path is an absolute death trap. Like, one slip and you'd end up either in the hedge or you'd end up in a load of nettles. But during summer and spring, or spring and summer, shall we say, it's a lot more navigatable, shall we say. Patrick H, the big, beautiful bill, is designed to concentrate wealth at the top of the society and make ordinary people lives less miserable. Well, more miserable, shall we say. I absolutely agree with you on that. Like I say, hopefully, the Democrats will win big in the midterms, and then at that point, they can pretty much make Trump a lame duck president for like the next 2 years. So, you know, fingers crossed on that one. Fingers crossed very much so on that one. But we have our own sort of, I think, big argument coming. And we're now seeing talks already about if Starmer were to leave, or maybe he gets a vote challenged against him or something like that, who would take over. And it is very much emerging that it's either going to be West Streeting, which would be Jesus Christ, no. Good Lord, no. Or Rayner. And I really hope Rayner wins. God, she would be such a good Prime Minister. I think she would be such a good Prime Minister. She would be so good. She's got such a fantastic story to tell. She's really good on sort of, social issues. I think she'd lead the party in a really good direction. And already, I'm talking to people about this up here. And a lot of people I'm seeing up here are pro-Rayner. I don't know about anywhere else, but I'm seeing a lot of pro-Rayner people up here. God damn. Will Starmer last 2025? Yeah, I think he will. I think he will, to be honest. There's really, honestly, at the moment, with the majority that he's got, he's, very, very, very much secure. Very, very much so secure. Little pony back there. He's very, very secure in his position. You're not going to see, I think, any real serious leadership challenges. A lot of people are like, oh, well, if this happened to Corbyn, they would have challenged him immediately on a leadership contest. And you're like, this isn't... There we go. This isn't, Corbyn's Labour, where he was constantly at odds and at war with his own MPs because he wouldn't communicate with them. This is now a very different sort of party from that. It's a party that went from the biggest loss in its history to one of its biggest victories. And I think that now there really needs to be that change in focus on look at the good stuff we're doing. Because I don't know if anyone follows the guy who writes Clear the Lobby. But every week he keeps on coming out saying, hey, look, have you seen all this good stuff Labour has done? Have you seen all this stuff they're doing in contrast to the last government? And it is really, really good. And there's another guy I would love to have a conversation with. I'd love to have a conversation with him. I think you've got to look at everything that a government does. And we're coming up to report card time. So for you, oops, Daisy, nearly there. So it's coming up to report card time for our annual pony club. Oh, thank you very much, Charles. In 2020, Kent gave us the COVID Delta variant. Now they're giving us Reform UK. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your super chat there. Thank you very much. But don't worry, we'll be keeping my eye on Kent Council because, they're probably going to be one of the fun ones to follow. And we haven't even covered just like a lot of the first meetings, and some of them were pretty tame, others not so much. As we've got the Derbyshire City Council meeting video coming soon. Oh boy. oh boy. Is that going to be fun? Covering that council. I'm sensing a lot of troubles with that council as well. Oh. Oh dear, Dover is under Kent Council. Exactly. Exactly. How do you think they're going to deal with Dover? There's so many things. So many things. And especially in that area as well. Like, I guarantee you, a lot of people who live in Kent don't actually realise that the council is in charge of that port. Because one thing I am looking forward to is that this is really going to be a teachable moment for a whole lot of people. Because one of the big reasons why Reform won was because of voter turnout. Voter turnout on average was 30%. That was awful. That was awful. You saw a guy down in Cornwall win on 19% of the vote. Hardly the most democratic thing going, for sure. But these guys are going to do so much damage. Like, they are going to do so much damage when it comes to their county councils. I think people in those regions are really going to realise what the damage is and what they've done. You know, I keep on repeating it. The fact that in Leicestershire, they have put a 19-year-old in charge of child services. Like, why on earth would you put a 19-year-old who has had zero political experience, zero experience with, you know, in that type of service area, except, oh, it's all right because he was recently a child. Those are his own words. Yeah. Good luck, Leicestershire, on that one. But bear in mind, the guy in charge of adult services is 20, so good luck on that one. You know, it is going to be a very, very teachable moment, I think, for many people to go, oh, actually, voting for who's in our local councils is actually quite important. Maybe I should go and vote in my next local council election to make sure that you know, idiot doesn't continue in their position. And like I say, next year, when we have our own local local election down here, it is going to be, I think, you know, very, very interesting, because I'm going to get out there. I'm going to be out there, leafleting, door knocking, making sure that these reform idiots don't take full control of Barnsley. Because if they do, I think we're going to end up in a very, very bad state. Because Barnsley, for once, is going in a very good direction. There we go. We'll finish on the horse. So we're going in a very, very good direction. And if these reform guys take over, that will all come grinding to a halt very, very quickly. Very, very quickly indeed. So, as always, thank you very much for joining me on today's Good Morning Walk. If you are new to the channel, hit the like, share and subscribe button on your way out. Thank you very much to everyone who's supported the channel today. Thank you very much. It's been absolutely fantastic. Good morning to you all. So if you want to go and enjoy the rest of your day, by all means, go out and enjoy it. It looks like it's going to be okay-ish weather wherever you are. So go out, enjoy yourselves, and as always, if you can't be sensible, at least be safe. I've messed that up, but anyway, outro. So thank you very much everyone for joining me today, and of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.